Class of 2013, please remain standing at this time. And I would like to invite our senior choir members to join the rest of the choir. At this time, would all members or people in the audience please rise? We will now have the presentation of our colors by the VFW post number 295. The high school choir will now perform our country's national anthem under the direction of Kim Sykes. Choir members, would you please take your place with the senior class? At this time, audience, would you please help me give a warm welcome to the class of 2013. We may now be seated. School Board Chair Ann Coonahan, Superintendent Webb, honored board members, seniors, parents, friends of seniors, I'd like to welcome you to the 106th commencement exercise of the South St. Paul High School. We are gathered here with one purpose in mind, to honor a very special group of seniors. At this time, I would like to introduce some other guests who will be participating in the ceremony this evening. Each one of these people have made a difference in the education of our seniors. As I call the names of these groups, please stand and remain standing. First of all, department representatives. Mr. Russell Sean, Art. Ms. Callan Siebenhaler, Business. Mr. Jay Nix, Industrial Tech. Ms. Sherry Benetham, Language A. Mr. Dwayne Heidemann, Math. Mr. Andrew Peterson, Music. Mr. David Palmquist, PE and Health. Mr. Craig Felton, Science. Ms. Kristen Johnson, Humanities. Ms. Beth Johnson, Special Education. Ms. Lindsay Day, Language B. Ms. Karen Frank, Family and Consumer Science. Let's give them a nice round of applause. Now I'd like to recognize our school board members. Ms. Deborah Clark, Ms. Wendy Felton, Ms. Sarah Brewer Winslow, Ms. Winslow Brewer, excuse me, Ms. Lori Flatley, Ms. Lisa Rother, Ms. Amy Williams. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Seated on the stage this evening with me will be board member Ms. Ann Coonahan, Superintendent Dr. David Webb, Ms. Cookie Unger, who is accepting on behalf of her brother, Mr. Michael Funk, the award for our honorary diploma, our distinguished graduate, Beth Bauman, faculty speaker, Mr. Craig Felton, and high school administrators, Mr. Chad Sexauer, assistant principal, activities director, and Ms. Stacy Jeffrey, assistant principal. Let's give them a round of applause, please. These fine people represent just some of the many teachers and community members who have touched the lives of our graduates over the years. Seniors and I, at this time, want to thank you. Seniors, let's give them a nice round of applause. Finally, I would like to publicly thank the South St. Paul Educational Foundation scholarship donors. Through their generosity, over $289,900 were distributed to members of the class of 2013. These scholarships are provided annually to aid students with their future educational plans. 127 seniors received scholarships this year. That means 75% of the seniors graduating have received scholarships. Let's have a round of applause for all the scholarship donors and the students who won these awards. Class of 2013, this is your special day. Your path down the South St. Paul Secondary Educational Highway is coming to an end. No more first days of school as a Packer. No more NWA tests. No more homecoming coronations. No more "it's not cool to be tardy" statements. No more Packer sporting events. No more Packer theater productions. No more speeches on making the right choice. No more MCA tests. No more Mr. Getzloff dressing up as a leprechaun. No more Packer proms. No more "please take your hats off." No more Packer proms. No more Mr. Gang stories. No more DP tests. No more senior trip. All of these fond memories are now just that, memories. But they are all memories that will define who you are as you undertake your next journey. When I remember the class of 2013, I will think of a well-known cliche: great things come in small packages. Small because with 169 students, you are the smallest graduating class in my 10 years at South St. Paul. Great because of what you have accomplished. This success will make you one of the greatest classes in the history of South St. Paul. I will complete my last message to you, seniors, class of 2013, by reading a poem and a quote that I hope will inspire you and help you on your next journey. Poem, "What Defines Success?" by Alicia Ricks. What is the journey to success? Success is not gained by defeat. Success does not occur overnight. Success can emerge at any age. Success is working to full potential. Success is courage. Success is lending a hand. Success is not listening to negativity. Success is being positive. Success is living your life instead of the life of others. Success is being proud. Success is overcoming obstacles. Success is striving. Success is listening to your heart. Most of all, success is accepting what you have accomplished. And last, a quote, and I think it's not only fitting for our senior class, but for everybody who's out here. This particular quote is from Mark Lewis, and it very simply goes like this: "The person who you're with most of your life is yourself. And if you don't like yourself, you're always with somebody you don't like." Thank you, seniors. I love you, and you'll be missed. At this time, we will have our two senior commencement speeches. The first commencement speech for the class of 2013 is by Jackie Remico. Jackie, would you please come and make your way to the stage?
As I stand before you today and we look back on our years together, many of us will flash back to 7th grade, stepping foot into South St. Paul High School for the very first time. In that moment, graduation never passed our minds as we started a new chapter of our lives. The day that we would all leave these hallowed halls seemed like an eternity away. Now, here we are, sitting before the staff that has educated us and our parents who have shaped us, wearing our very own graduation caps and gowns. As I sat at home writing this speech, I found myself paging through the junior high yearbook. I couldn't help but realize just how much each of us has changed. High school was our chance to discover who we were, an opportunity to make memories we will never forget, and a way to realize the kind of people that we want to be before setting out on a journey of our own. As ninth graders, many of us walked the halls just praying we wouldn't get squashed by the upperclassmen, not knowing that our chance as the oldest would come and go so quickly. Looking back on our first homecoming experience, it's safe to say that we truly lived up to the role of the stereotypical freshman class. There was the Pep Fest as we braved, almost silently, our first ever freshman battle cry. Our first homecoming dance is a memory many of us will never forget. My exact words to Felicia Wolf after the dance were, and I quote, "I have bubbles in my stomach." Sophomore year brought with it the realization of high school academics. Sitting in Mr. Bakken's English class, I can recall watching the Epiphany videos made by each of my classmates. It was the first, but maybe not the last time I will ever see Al Cheetah run across 4th Avenue in a fairy costume, or Jake Hill with long, gorgeous locks of blonde hair. In 2010, we were all surprised by the fact that, indeed, the South St. Paul staff could dance, even Mr. Manning. We applaud you to this day for that breathtaking performance. When I think back to the start of 11th grade, I can't help but get chills thinking about the game that will go down in the record books. Our very own boys football team took down the St. Thomas Academy Cadets in what was thought to be an impossible game. Standing there in the bitter cold that night, wrapped up like a caterpillar in blankets, the rush of storming that field is almost impossible to top. In that moment, I couldn't have been more proud to call myself a Packer. With junior year came the intense workload for those of us who braved the IB track. Sure, we may have complained, but to be honest, there was somewhat of a family formed by the IB students. Many of us thinking the same thing as we sat through countless hours of biology notes, not sure what the difference was between endo and exocytosis, but rather very fascinated to find out where the infamous pretzels were that were making Mr. Peter Fesso so thirsty all the time. And come on, we can all confess that every time he took out those name sticks, it made us all a little nervous. But we made it through it, and now here we are, the senior class of 2013. With such a small class, I felt as if all of us became close this year. There was never a moment that clubs or activities separated one student from another. We were, in one way, shape, or form, all connected. Many of you have been told that high school is the best years of your life. But remember, this is only the beginning. We are all capable of accomplishing greatness in our futures. In the words of Senator Orrin Hatch, there is a good reason they call these ceremonies commencement exercises. Graduation is not the end, it's the beginning. Many of you will go on to further your education, whether it's college or trade school, the workforce, or armed forces. This community has taught us that through hard work, great things can be accomplished. We have been shaped into people that are capable of making a difference, and I challenge you to do just that. Fellow classmates, thank you for all the memories over the years. I wish each of you the best in the future. Remember to set your goals high and work hard, because in the end, you get out what you put in. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Sadie Alquist, would you please come up and she will be giving our second commencement speech.
Class of 2013. Tonight is a night to celebrate, cry, smile, laugh, let go of the troubles of the past, and remember the precious memories that have gotten you here today. Growing up here my whole life, with two older sisters that also graduated from South St. Paul, I have seen many classes and students cross this stage to get their diplomas. And now I can hardly believe that it is us here tonight. Take this moment to look around and really soak in this moment. Take a look at the people next to you. Reality is, you may not see these people ever again. Look at where you are. For some of you, this could be the last time you are on this football field where we all grew up watching many talented athletes excel in their sports. Look at what you're wearing. A maroon cap and gown symbolizing that tonight is your night, and also symbolizing that you made it. You made it through the challenging IB classes, stressful schedules, and all the drama that comes with being a teenager in high school. But none of that matters tonight. What matters is what you're taking away from this place. What kind of relationships have you built with people? How have you treated others? And what have you learned here that you plan to take with you no matter where you are? Sometimes in high school, people find it easy to get caught up in the little things, petty arguments or conflicts. People can mistreat others because maybe they're a little different or out there. But none of that matters either, especially tonight. You see, class of 2013, if all the little things and stereotypes did matter, we probably wouldn't even be here today. We are here tonight because despite all of our individual ups and downs, there has always been a way to persevere through it. So tonight, let it all go. Forget the bad and the ugly and focus on the good. Tonight, we all leave South St. Paul High School on a positive note. We leave here knowing that each and every one of us has made an impact on someone else's life, whether we are aware of it or not. And we leave here tonight knowing that we are prepared for whatever comes our way in the future. South St. Paul has a wonderful teaching staff. They truly care about us, they have prepared us educationally, and they have taught us many important life lessons. If you don't realize what those lessons are today, I can guarantee you will someday. We have to be thankful for being raised here, as we have been given opportunities to start out our futures on the right path. When I look back at our high school career, there are so many incredible highlights that this speech wouldn't be long enough to cover a fraction of them. A few that stick out to me, though, are all of the dances. Whether it be homecoming, mistletoe, prom, or the blacklight dances, those were always a blast. The homecomings and fun dress-up days always seemed to be the best weeks of the year because everybody always came together in the spirit of Packer pride. The IB history trip to England and Scotland, for me, and the others that were out there on the trip, was definitely one for the books. Then, of course, there are all of the amazing state appearances in the sports department. I will never forget the football team beating STA to go to state our junior year. What a game. There are also so many talented people in this class in the arts, as you probably noticed when a large mass of people got up from their chairs to join the choir for the national anthem. It's the same for the band department as well. And let's not forget, my fellow theater friends, we pulled off and sold out Les Miserables this fall, which is pretty awesome because it was also out in the movie theaters this year. Talk about good timing. Honestly, when I look out into the sea of maroon gowns, we have a group of very talented young men and women. I mean, Shara Casey probably runs faster than her horses she owns and rides. And Kendra Ponko, you are probably one of the most musically inclined people I know. David Vaughn and Elizabeth Mellon, you two are some of the smartest people that I have ever met and are probably going to end up curing cancer someday. Joss Johnson, Your political nature could lead you to becoming the President of the United States someday. I could go on listing everyone and all of their unique and amazing talents, but then we would be here until we had to go to college. Speaking of leaving for college, we are right around the corner of doing just that. It really hit me a while back when I was writing my speech one February evening. I remember going to Varsity Singers that night as well, and we started working on our annual senior feature song. The song was Under Pressure, you know, bum 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 digga dum dum. And it was actually the first Varsity Singers piece we did our sophomore year when Mrs. Sykes first came to South St. Paul. I remember feeling extremely nostalgic as I drifted from one flashback into the next. A senior speech and a senior song in one night was just too much for me. And then a blink of an eye later, here I am speaking in front of all of you. I hope you can all have those flashback moments tonight and for the rest of your life, because we have all made some wonderful memories in this town, and those memories are worth reliving. But as we cherish the past, we must also move forward onto our next chapter. We all have the capability to do great things, and with the right work ethic and positive attitude, I know we can all fulfill our greatest goals. I can also guarantee there will be bumps and setbacks down the road. But if I've learned anything in high school, keeping your head high with a confident smile can get you through the roughest of rough patches. If people give you trouble, take the high road and always stay classy and kind. As my 5th grade teacher, Mr. Anderson, always said, you get what you give. So simply just be nice and don't forget to thank people along the way. Start tonight. Thank your teachers and administration down here on the field. Thank your parents, thank your family, and thank your friends. They've all impacted our lives to a great extent. I close my speech now by saying South St. Paul is always home. So no matter where your journey takes you, we are all Packers and always will be. I wish you all the best life, and it has been a great pleasure growing up with all of you. Stay sweet, class of 2013, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadie. Members of the audience, many of you may be wondering about the meaning of the different medals and sashes worn by our students. So we'll give you a little idea of what they're for. Students who are wearing the gold tassels are members of the National Honor Society. Students wearing the gold medals are International Baccalaureate Diploma candidates. Students wearing the silver medals are International Baccalaureate Honors students. And students wearing the gold sash are graduating with honors. Congratulations to you and all the members of the class of 2013. I would now like to introduce Stacy Jeffrey, Assistant Principal, who will present our honorary diploma.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. I am here this evening to introduce our 2013 South St. Paul honorary graduate. While he may not have graduated from our school, this year's honorary graduate is well known for the various roles he played in our South St. Paul School District and for the countless hours he spent working to make things better for our students and families. This year, we honor Mr. Mike Funk. I met Mr. Funk just about 20 years ago and had no idea then how much I would come to admire and care for him. He and I started here together in 1993. Yes, 2 years before any of you were even born. He watched many of you grow into adults that you have become at various sporting events on ice rinks, ball fields, and courts. He enjoyed watching you excel and always had a kind word or tip to give you the next day when he saw you in the hallways. He was dedicated to you students and showed pride in being a Packer. As you graduate this year, take a minute to remember Mr. Funk and all the staff here who touched your lives. Kind, caring, generous, loyal. These are words used to help us remember all that Mr. Funk was. You have seen these words next to his picture each day as you have made your way through the hallway. As you think on your future, ask yourself, what will you give back? And what words will describe you? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Graduating class of 2013, you, like Mr. Funk, once a Packer, always a Packer. Please welcome Mike Funk's sister, Cookie, to accept the honorary graduate.
They told me I could have 5 to 7 minutes to talk, and to try to talk about Mike in 5 to 7 minutes is both easy and hard. Hard because how do you fit all of Mike's accomplishments into 5 to 7 minutes? And easy, and you just have to say Mike always gave 150% and always put the students first. Mike was the rare kind of person who attracted everyone, from infants to grandmas and grandpas. I think it's because they could sense he really cared. Mike always put others first, sometimes to a fault. When our mom had a stroke, Mike became her primary caregiver. His life consisted of caring for Mom at night and on weekends, and sometimes with no sleep, coming to South St. Paul to do his job, always insisting he was okay and he could do it. Mom or South St. Paul never got the short end. Mike gave his all. Pat mentioned in Mike's eulogy that in Mike's obituary it said he had no children. Well, that wasn't true. He had thousands. No parent or grandparent could work harder or care more for kids, especially here at South St. Paul. You always knew with Mike, if you put in an effort, he was in your corner, sometimes beside you, sometimes pushing you, sometimes pulling you, but always there. And if you put in the work, he would always be there with 150% effort. If you stumbled because of a poor choice, you'd never hear, "I told you so." He'd just encourage you to get up and try again. Mike always fought what's for best for kids in the South St. Paul community, sometimes quietly in the background, and sometimes with that Irish-German tenacity. But no matter the results, he would work tirelessly for the students. Mike put everything he had into his job at South St. Paul, whether working with the school board, the superintendent, the school administrators of the community. But his interactions with the students was his greatest joy. There were many highlights, all the extracurricular activities, the band and choir concerts, the theater, athletics, the dance team competitions. In fact, the dance team competition was the last event Mike ever attended in South St. Paul. But maybe making a difference and just chatting with the students was one of the highlights of his life. One thing sticks out, though. It was the year he got to coach the hockey goalies. Coming from a hockey family, it brought back many wonderful memories, and he felt again he was able to make a difference doing something he so loved. Mike loved South St. Paul schools and community. He was at home here and cared deeply. He may have grown up in Highland Park and been a Scot, gone to St. Thomas College and been a Tommy, but when he greeted family and friends who went before him, he went as a Packer. He loved you guys, and we and his family would like to thank you for returning that love. Dave Webb and Butch Manning, the love and support you brought from yourself and the South St. Paul community during Mike's illness and death will never be forgotten and will be paid forward. We can all keep Mike's memory alive by trying to do for others. To the graduating class, go forward using all your energy for good. Don't leave anything on the bench. Mike never did. Thank you.
Thank you, Cookie. And now I'd like to introduce our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. David Webb, who will be presenting our Distinguished Graduate Award.
Thanks, Cookie. That was wonderful. Well, good evening. I'm Dave Webb, and I have the pleasure of being the superintendent of this wonderful school district. And I have the pleasure this evening to present our Distinguished Graduate Diploma to Mayor Beth Baumann. And Mayor, if it's okay with you, if you could come stand next to me, that'd be wonderful. I don't have anything up my sleeve, so you're all good. So, we're honoring Mayor Beth Baumann tonight for her dedication and commitment to the students and community of South St. Paul. She was first elected mayor in 2003 and has worked tirelessly throughout the years to serve our community well. She has served on numerous nonprofit boards, such as the South St. Paul Education Foundation, the South St. Paul Open Foundation, Inver Hills Community College Foundation, and Neighbors, Inc., to name a few. Through Mayor Baumann's leadership, she also developed and led the River Heights Chamber Adult Leadership Program. But Mayor Baumann is especially proud of the development of the Mayor's Youth Task Force. And could you just raise your hand, students, if you were part of that task force at any point during your career? Wonderful. We have here in South St. Paul, the Mayor's Youth Task Force is made up of students in grades 5 through 12, and their mission is to find things to do in South St. Paul to help prevent underage drinking and smoking among our youth. On March 11th of this year, South St. Paul Mayor's Youth Task Force was presented a Star of the North Congressional Award from U.S. Representative John Klein for the community service work that the task force does in our community. As a 1976 graduate of South St. Paul, Mayor Beth Baumann understands the importance of providing these kinds of leadership skills to our youth. In high school, she participated in many leadership opportunities of her own, serving as the junior class president, in the student council, in the Spanish club, as well as serving as editor of the newspaper. Last week, I sat down with Mayor Baumann to hear her story. She says she received a great education from South St. Paul High School. And when she attended college, she was way ahead of her peers. This is the same thing that I hear from our diploma program graduates when they return to speak to our classes every couple of years. She names teachers from our district like Marilyn West, who encouraged her and taught her the intricacies of being a great writer. She was even able to test out of writing courses back in the day when students rarely did such a thing. It wasn't that long ago.
It was a long time ago.
Okay. Mayor Beth Baumann was a leader in high school, which sometimes means advocating for what you believe. She shared the story of how she participated in a sit-in back in 1975 and 76, a sit-in by high school students to encourage the administration to allow kids to wear jeans to school. I guess it worked.
It did.
When I spoke with her last week, she said that tonight would not be the first time that she will be speaking at commencement here in South St. Paul. In 1976, when the valedictorian chose not to speak, Mayor Beth Baumann was a leader and stepped up to speak at her commencement. As we reflect back on Mayor Baumann's many experiences, what struck me the most was that she has come full circle and is giving back to the school and community that helped to develop the leadership skills that she uses today to serve all of us. That's my wish for you as graduates this evening, that you're able to graduate with some wonderful leadership skills from our school, that you'll go on to a great college or career, and someday return to South St. Paul to share and serve our entire community. What a great gift. I ask that you please stand and join me in congratulating our 2013 distinguished graduate, Mayor Beth Baumann. Congrats.
Well, you guys can sit down. Come on. And I'd like to talk to Therese about having me go after Cookie. Come on. No, thank you very much, Dr. Webb, for that very generous introduction. And I want to thank the school board, the administration, and especially the class of 2013 for giving me this honor. Distinguished is never a word that has been used to describe me before. So I'm trying to figure out how I live up to that, but I hope I can. And, you know, Dr. Webb painted kind of a rosy picture of my high school and my college, and it wasn't that rosy. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about that. But before I do that, there are some special people in the audience that I would love to introduce and thank. Important people to me. First of all, my parents, Bruce and Mary Ann Baumann, who are sitting over there, who have been my rocks, my supporters. They have corrected me when I've needed it, which I needed a lot at times, and they are always there to guide me, and I want to thank them very much for everything they've done for me. I also want to thank someone that you guys know as Ms. Dubs, Chris Weinfurter, my sister, who is also a great supporter and one of my best friends. And she's the one that's made me chaperone almost every one of your dances the last 3 years. So I've actually gotten to know you guys pretty well. So thank you to her, and thank you to my other brother and my other sister for all they've done, because they've supported me in whatever I've done, what mistaken path I've taken, what good path I've taken. But you'll hear a little bit more about that. I also want to thank all those friends that are out there watching it on TV because they're too chicken to come down or too cold, because they're waiting for me to slip up because they know something about my graduation speech that you guys don't. There were two mishaps. Now, we were one of the first classes to have, in 1976, an outdoor graduation, but it was set up a little differently. The podium was there facing east, the students were facing west into the sun, but the day of our graduation, and there were bleachers on both sides. The day of graduation was beautiful. It was about 78, 80, a little breeze, very sunny. And in those days, the girls wore white gowns, the boys wore maroon gowns. Does that make you feel a little warmer? 80 degrees, yes. In those days, the girls wore white gowns. And being the rebel without a cause, as my father called me, that I was, my mom said you should wear something nice under your gown. I wore a pair of light-colored shorts and a white t-shirt and some flip-flops. So when I was giving my speech, the sun was setting, and as the sun showed through, it looked like I was naked underneath my white gown. The people on the side were quite sure, and my mother was very annoyed, especially when the picture that was in the South St. Paul Sun of me doing my speech made it look like I was naked under my gown. I was not, but it looked like it. So that was mishap number two. Mishap number one. Mishap number two was about kind of me at the time. It was the 70s. We were all about revolution and had wished we had grown up in the 60s, but we were in the 70s, and we were going to make a difference, and we were going to buck authority, and it was going to be great. So my speech was about how cool and how we were in tune with what was going on in the real world. We were not afraid of the real world. And at the end, I said, "Give 'em hell, class of 76. All my father said to me was, "You swore in your graduation speech, I'm so proud." So, okay, that started a little rocky, but you know what? I was leaving. I was getting out of this one-horse town, South St. Paul, blowing this pop stand, gonna go to a four-year college, gonna get out. I had good grades, I had good test scores, I knew how to study. I tested out of a couple classes. I have it made. I'm gonna be done in 4 years and I'm out of there. But it didn't work that way. Okay, I had big fun in college, woohoo, but it just wasn't clicking with me. I was not doing the work, I wasn't putting in the time, I wasn't enjoying learning, which I had always learned. I lost my way with education. So after my sophomore year, I dropped out. Big problem, not good. Disappointment, unhappiness, wasting your talent. What are you gonna do now? And moved home, got a job. So then that became a new cause for the rebel without a cause. I'm going to work my way up in management without having a degree. I'm going to show people you don't need to have a degree and be in management. Worked at a bank, worked my way up to my middle management job, and finally my boss, my mentor, my friend said, okay, you proved your point, get your degree. So I found my way back to education, found out that I remembered, I liked it. It was a good thing. Finally, after 19 years, I finished my 4-year degree. So that was a good thing. I loved it so much that I decided to go to graduate school immediately, and I actually finished that in 2 years, so that's a good thing. But I found my way back to education, which was great. But meanwhile, we're flashing back, and this is a bad transition, my speech teacher would hate it, flashing back to me waving goodbye to South St. Paul. But what happens when you drop out of college? You move back home with your parents in South St. Paul. So much for leaving South St. Paul behind. And you know, things went very quickly. I got married to someone from South St. Paul who loves South St. Paul. We stayed here, we bought a house. And as you spend time in South St. Paul as a taxpayer, you start paying a little more attention to what's going on. You figure out that, you know what, this is a pretty good place. People really are neighbors here. People like each other, they help each other. We have groups like the Lions and the Rotary that help people. When people lose their jobs, people help out, they do things for each other. When people need scholarships, they have the Educational Foundation. If they need help with activities, they've got the South St. Paul Open. This community, a little bit about what Sadie said, is a home. Even if you don't live here, which is too bad if you don't live here, I feel very bad for you. Even if you don't live here, if you just go to school here or just work here, you feel it. So I started finding my way back to loving South St. Paul. I'd left, I'd come back in shame, and loved it. And as you become to love South St. Paul, you get more involved. I got involved. I started understanding what was going on. I started seeing the developments down by the river and things that they were doing with old houses, and I thought, this is a great community. This community is rising from the ashes of its former glory, of the stockyards and the packing plants, and trying to reinvent itself, and I want to be part of that. I love this place. So I found my way back to South St. Paul. And that's when my father, who had been mayor and city council for many years, said, I'm retiring. I think you should step up and be a leader and run for office. And that's when I decided to do that. The rest is history. You've heard, I've been around for a while. And it's with the help of my family and my friends and people that I've met, I've come to appreciate South St. Paul even more. And you guys, I'm sure, have appreciated it too, whether it's a teacher that you connected with, whether it's a business that helped the football team get warm-up jerseys or equipment for the theater department or things like that. You have seen the community support you as students. So as you go on in life, as Sadie said, remember about home. This is home. Find your way back to South St. Paul. Because when you leave, you'll go other places. You'll join the Army, you'll join the Navy, you'll go to college, you'll go to Europe, you'll hike the mountains of Peru. Whatever you do, remember South St. Paul. Find your way back here. Whether it's following a Twitter feed of somebody who's still here, whether it's staying in touch with the Educational Foundation. By the way, leave them your email address so they can find you, and please give them money when you can afford it. That was just a little advertisement for the foundation, but stay in touch. Find your way back to South St. Paul, because it's the core of South St. Paul is all good. And the things you've learned here will make you great adults, successful adults. So please find your way back and give back to the community. So this is the end of my speech. I know I'm not supposed to do that. My speech teacher is just really annoyed with me now. But I wanted to close. Now, really good speakers. You heard Mr. Manning. He quoted a poem and a quote. I looked through my quote books. I tried to find a poem. But the bottom line is I was raised on radio, so pop music speaks to me. So I find meaning in the lyrics of pop songs. And this is one of the ones that I really like right now, by the Script and will.i.am. So I thought it might have some meaning. It might not. But I like the words. So you can be master, don't wait for luck, dedicate yourself, and you can find yourself. Do it for your people, do it for pride, Never going to know if you never even try. Do it for your country, do it for a name, because there's going to be a day you're standing in the Hall of Fame, and the world's going to know your name. Be students, be teachers, be politicians, be preachers, be believers, be leaders, be astronauts, be champions, be truth seekers. Standing in the Hall of Fame, and the world's going to know your name, because you burn with the brightest flame, and you'll be on the walls of the Hall of Fame. So find your Hall of Fame, and remember to find your way back to South St. Paul. Thank you, and good luck, class of 2013.
Thank you, Mayor Ballman. Each year, the seniors select one faculty member to give an address at graduation. This year, they have selected Mr. Craig Felton, science teacher. Craig, could you come up, please? On behalf of the senior class, I'd like to present this to you, Mr. Felton, a gift. And with that, we would like to thank you for all you have done for the senior class and for all you do for South St. Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Welcome, Board of Education, administration, faculty and staff, parents, guests, and most importantly, you, the graduating class of 2013. Thank you, graduates, for the opportunity to address you tonight. I'd probably feel a little more at home up here tonight if I could have a golf club to swing, or maybe if I could wear my golf polos, probably purple. And I'd probably feel a little more at ease if you had desktops to hide all your cell phones while you're texting during my speech, but we need to step outside of our comfort zone a little bit. From the moment that Mr. Manning informed me that I'd have the honor of speaking to you tonight, my anxiety level skyrocketed. And it's not because most of my conversations with Mr. Manning that start with Mr. Felton, I need to talk to you, don't end well for me, but it's because of the pressure of coming up with something to say tonight. What do I say? For sure, wit and one-liners, I'm never going to be able to follow up Lambert and Getzlaff. I can't match the philosophical musings of Mr. Gang. And Ms. Weinfurter does a much better job of heartfelt sentiment that I could ever manage. So what do I talk about? Well, I found myself in a bookstore. And science department colleagues, I know you're doubting the truth of that statement, but I did find myself in a bookstore, and I came across a book titled 10.5 Things No Commencement Speaker Has Ever Said, by a man named Charles Whelan. And I read it. It was a short book. And while Mr. Whelan was actually talking about a college commencement, I think a lot of his points also applied to a high school graduation as well. So with his book as my inspiration, I would now like to present to you, the class of 2013, my list of the 6 things you would never think you'd hear me say tonight at your commencement. Number 1, your time at college parties or on road trips with friends will be time well spent. I know she doesn't take credit for this, but I heard a great line from Molly Raven, and she told me, no one looks back on their life and remembers the nights they got plenty of sleep. I know she probably got it off a Starbucks cup, but it's true. People remember the times they got a little crazy with their friends, stayed up all night, and maybe broke a few minor rules. And if you don't believe me, just ask Mr. Burke, because those kind of nights have provided him with a lot of stories. So these won't be wasted hours. They might not be your most productive, but certainly not wasted. In my opinion, when all is said and done, the only thing that really matters in your life is going to be the connections and relationships that you make with other people. These relationships are going to go a long way towards your happiness. So take advantage of these crazy opportunities that you're going to get to make these relationships. Number 2, don't try to be great. How's that for setting the bar really low? What I mean by this is when greatness is your goal, too often you lose sight of what it takes to get you there. It's like the golfer who rears back and applies a stranglehold to his club and gives it everything he's got, and when he's all said and done, the ball ends up only 25 yards short of the ladies' tees, okay? Too often, the result isn't what you expect. In the movie The Legend of Bagger Vance, Will Smith's title character comments on just this point when he says that a man's grip on his club is like his grip on his world. So sometimes you need to loosen up a little bit to get the desired results. So instead of trying to be great, be solid. Trust the processes and skills that you've been taught and that you've practiced, And good things, maybe even great things, will most certainly follow. Point number 3, you are going to need help. You're not going to be able to do it alone. At some point, whether it's financial, emotional, spiritual, or physical, you're going to need the help of others, probably for the rest of your life. Earlier this month, I came out of school one evening to find that my van had a flat tire. I struggled for about an hour to get that rusted-on spare tire out from underneath the van. They make it look so easy in the owner's manual. The marching band just happened to be practicing that evening, so with the sounds of Battle Hymn of the Republic hanging in the air, along with an offer of help from Claire Clausen, I was inspired to keep trying. But I was going to need help. This being South St. Paul, I called my brother, who lives only 2 blocks away, and he was more than happy to come over and help me. The point is, I'm 47, and I depend on the help of others all the time. I shudder to think where I would be without the help of my wife and my kids, my parents, my brothers, my friends, and my colleagues here at work. Don't be too proud to accept this help that's going to be offered. Dylan Kelly's already got it figured out. He told me that he's living at home until he's 25 so he can get a job and get some money saved up before he's out on his own. This is going to require the help of his family. Mr. and Mrs. Kelly, if this is the first time you're hearing this, I apologize. Point number 4, sometimes your best is not going to be good enough, and sometimes the decisions you make are going to be the wrong ones. I hate to inform you. For starters, Charlie Gerton, that haircut that made you look like Mr. Burke's younger brother, that was a bad decision. And there's a certain member of the senior class out there that wanted me to stand up here tonight and proclaim how that Josh Johnson, he really went hard in the paint. A basketball reference to hard work. And Josh, while that may be true of your work ethic, there are going to be days when that will not be enough. For all of you, there's going to be jobs that you apply for that you don't get. There's going to be jobs that you lose, relationships that fail, and dreams that go unrealized, despite the fact you gave it everything you had. That's the way life goes. But you can't give up. You got to keep trying. You need to be resilient. As the saying goes, when one door closes, another opens. So don't stare so long and regretfully at that closed door that you miss the door that's opening up. Point number 5, you don't know what you don't know. And by that I mean you don't know everything yet, Josh Johnson. There are situations coming down the road for you that you have no idea even exist, let alone have you thought about. This is where it might help to listen to someone who has a little life experience. Your parents, your grandparents, professors, and in general, your elders. In this area, it might also be more beneficial to talk less and listen more. Don't be proof that light travels faster than sound, that you appear to be bright until people hear you speak. My favorite movie of all time is The Wizard of Oz, and it contains one of my favorite quotes, one that makes me chuckle every time I hear it. When Dorothy first encounters the Scarecrow on her way to Oz, the Scarecrow tells her he doesn't have a brain and doesn't know what to think. So Dorothy wonders, how can you talk if you don't have a brain? To which the Scarecrow replies, I don't know, but some people without brains do an awful lot of talking. So class of 2013, don't let the Scarecrow be describing you. And lastly, point number 6, I have no idea what the future holds for you. Despite what I stand up here and say tonight, there are no certainties. Well, that's not totally true. There is one thing that we know with 100% certainty, and that is that in the future, Allison Fuchs is going to be color coordinated, wearing something sparkly, and probably standing no more than 10 feet from Jessica Karg. But other than that, there are no certainties. The way technology and culture have changed just in the past 20 years make it next to impossible to predict what your lives will look like a generation from now. But having listened to Jack Petrozewski and David Vaughn and Callie Young, Oscar Velasquez, Andrea Olson, Asia Owens, Maggie Beldy, Andrew Guerrero, having listened to you in physics solve problems, I'm confident of one thing, and that is that your South St. Paul education has given you the tools that you'll need to successfully navigate your way through all of the unknowns that life is going to throw your way. There's so much more that I want to talk about tonight, but it's cold. Little things like how I hope my 6th period class thinks back to physics every day when it's half past the common ground of. I hope the girls on our 9th grade soccer team never forget beating Sibley in 3 inches of slush and snow to cap a successful season. I hope that Tony Trinkner never loses that passion that made him the ultimate sexy sax man. And I always meant to tell James Sargent that during every band concert, I would always try to pick out him and his triplet brothers as fast as I could, kind of like a Where's Waldo, except with the Sargent boys. I wanted to thank you for the humor that you've provided. For Riley Viner, protesting that pairing Lizzie Mellon and Kendra Ponko together on a partner quiz was a waste of a smart person. And Corey Steffen, I'm still not sure about your reference to lumberjacking people, if that meant people who actually are lumberjacks or people who went around stealing lumber. You'll have to explain that to me someday. Charlie, Jackie, and Benjamin J. We never did get to build that ultimate water slide on the football field, but judging by the amount of skin that Trevor Bamer left behind on the Alpine slide on the senior trip, maybe not doing that experiment was the wise choice. Personally, I'm going to miss talking about golf with Zach Wally and Megan Coonahan, about time travel and science ethics with Andrew Miller, and our mutual love of Westerns with Stephanie Halverson. I'm also going to miss the likes of Alicia Mayshok and Grant Amos, Michaela Solos, and Nick Luna, students that I never had the opportunity to have in class, but yet they always greeted me with a smile and conversation, nevertheless. And I guess there is a seventh point I'd like to leave you with tonight, but it's one that you would expect to hear at graduation. You're going to discover very quickly that time is one of life's most precious commodities. Please do not waste it. As the group Five for Fighting put it so well, you've only got 100 years to live. And I know right now it feels like you've got forever. But you're only 18 for this moment. And blink and 50's gone and you're wondering, where have the years gone? So fill those years with experiences and relationships. Be happy and savor every second. And speaking of precious time, I'm now starting to take up a little bit too much of yours. So congratulations to you, the class of 2013. It has been an honor getting to teach you and to talk with you in the halls. I wish you the very best of everything life has to offer.
Thank you, Mr. Felton. At this time, if I could get the senior choir members to please come up and join us, the rest of the choir members. A tradition that we have is that we always have our choir, high school choir, perform a musical selection. And this year, the musical selection is It's Time. And this will be performed by our high school choir, directed by Kim Sykes. Thank you, Ms. Sykes and the choir. At this time, we can get our seniors back. As they go back, this now becomes a time when we've all been waiting for, and everybody's getting excited. I would now like to introduce Mr. Chad Sexauer, our Assistant Principal, Activities Director, who will be reading the names of our seniors.
Good evening. Graduation is a happy but solemn occasion, and the school requests the audience to refrain from yelling or making other noises throughout the roll call of the class. Please respect the viewers at home and stay behind the cameras when taking pictures. Also respect each family's wish to hear each son or daughter's name being announced. Jacqueline Joy Remical. Sadie Mae Alquist. Fosia Mohammed Abdurrahman. Grant Amos. Thomas Robert Asper. Austin Peter Bauer. Emily Rachel Beck. Samantha Ariana Beck. Tyler John Beffert. Margaret Judith Beldy. Austin James Bernier. Sidi J. Bakhta. Alyssa Rose Binsfield. Marissa Rose Bloyer. Bethany Ann Bobson. Trevor Michael Bamer. Jess A. Buttleman. Donald G. Bystrom. Olivia Ann Carlson. Shara Christine Casey. Abigail May Chapdelaine. Maria Chavez. Shamira D. Christian. Claire Frances Clausen. Megan Mary Cunahan. Caitlin Cruz. Kenneth Russell Dale. Emily Sue Dawson. Cody Dean Dilger. Stephanie Marie Dillenberg. Olivia Louise Dochnick. John Thomas Donaldson. Nicole Doherty. Brenda Christine Duscher. Charles William Ebert. Marissa Renee Escobedo. Nathan J. Finken. Mitchell E. Fitzgerald. Stephen Anthony James Foster. Brianna Annette Fry. Samuel James Frid. Rachel Elizabeth Frank. Allison Marie Fuchs. Michael Evan Garfield. Alexander Joshua Galt. Charles L. Gurton. Kyle David Geving. Sarah Elizabeth Jingdahl. Ashley M. Gomez. Jorge Eduardo Gonzalez. Andrew Cullum Charles Griffin. Claire Angeline Grimshaw. Callie Michelle Grover. Andres Mateo Guerrero. Courtney Ray Gutzman. Megan Michelle Habel. Emily Victoria Hagan. Stephanie Karen Halverson. Michaela K. Henderson. Jade Ann Hernandez. Jacob Galvin Hill. Justin Thomas Hinkst. Samuel A. Hopp. Brian Ronald Hoppy. Royce L. Shung. Hannah Louise Hughes. Elizabeth Lynn Isaacson. Andrew Thomas Jackson. Kelly L. Jarakowski. Jocelyn Jacob Johnson. Jessica Elizabeth Ann Karg. Dylan James Kelly. Michaela Rose Keeger. Benjamin James Cry. Michael Joseph Lally. Robert Evan Keene. Tyler Carl Lingsfeld. Paul Andrew Leonidas. Jeffrey C. Libby. Alicia A. Lockhart. Allison Carol Lomax. Aaron Marcus Lozano. Nicholas Ernest Luna. Abigail R. Mace. Alicia K. Mashak. Catherine J. Mannon. Elizabeth Helen McCabe. Jessica Ray McCoy. Wayne Teske Malake. Elizabeth Joy Mellon. Luis Fernando Mendez Robles. Molly P. Myers. Alec Warren Miller. Andrew Jacob Miller. Allison Marie Mayaki. Kelvin Antonio Morales Ibarra. Emily Diana Morris. Faith Elizabeth Murphy. Madeline Margaret Nelson. Andrew Willard Ness. Celeste Helen Nitty. Corey Raven Nygaard. Andrea Marie Olson. Cassandra L. Olson. Francisco Javier Ortiz. Asia Don Owens. Kendra May Ponco. Mallory Ann Parsons. Devin John Paul Nelson. Riley J. Peterson. Eric William Flans. Jack Eugene Petrozewski. Joshua Dean Polabinski. Zachary Michael Poston. Justin Cole Prince. Wyatt Stephen Pugh. Molly Elizabeth Raven. Laura E. Raymond. Michael Allen Richardson. Nancy Rocho Olalida. Marcus Robert Rowland. Joseph Patrick Rowan III. Ninfa Ruiz. Andrew John Salih. Yesenia Sogaldo Carrera. Nicole Lynn Sands. James W. Sargent. Cassandra Ann Sacedo. Daniel Robert Sorrow. Madeline Marie Schaefer. Chloe Ann Schmidt. Tessa M. Schmidt. Tristan Andrew Schmidt. Nicholas Schroeder. Zachary William Schwant. Alicia Elizabeth Sethry. Brianna Lee Shank. Riley George Shirk. Carla Jeanette Silva. Anna Kathleen Simon. Hannah Nicole Smith. Madison Joyce Sabaski. Michaela Marie Solos. Tyler Joseph Spickerman. Alex M. St. Clair. Corey Jean Steffen. Jack Joseph Stickler. Thomas M. Stombaugh. Matthew Lee Stone. Emily Tappy. Christina Took. McKenna Lauren Thole. Joseph Robert Tonda. Elizabeth Torres Cervantes. Anthony Lawrence Trinkner. Amanda Lynn Trudeau. Alexander James Cheetah. Jessica Lynn Euling. Jennifer Yvette VA. David Andrew Vaughn. Oscar Eduardo Velasquez Gomez. Riley Susan Viner. Kyla Marie Ward. Zachary Stephen Welly. Jared David Wenzel. Madeline Rose Wernis. Lauren Christine Wilcox. Brianna Marie Willard. Felicia Claire Wolf. Jesse D. Wright. Callie Marie Young. Angela Rose Zaccardi. Michaela Louise Zabel.
Graduates, please stand. I hereby declare that the seniors before us have completed all their local and state requirements. As a symbol of your achievements and a new beginning, please move your tassel from the right to left. I would now like to present to you the South St. Paul community, Minnesota's best graduating class of 2013, the South St. Paul Packers. At this time, the seniors will have 30 minutes to celebrate out here, but remember, all diplomas have to be picked up in 30 minutes in the pack. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.